Come along with me in the kitchen as I make homemade from scratch freezer meals to stock our freezer with. These are simple dinners that actually get used and are perfect for busy weeknights. I was never someone who relied on freezer meals, but as a nutritionist, I care deeply about feeding my family wholesome, homemade food while also being realistic about midweek schedules and everyday chaos.
We did it, and that was probably painful.
So, if you're looking for simple, from scratch dinners for busy weeknights that can easily be stocked in the freezer, then I hope you find some inspiration from today's time spent in the kitchen. Grab a cup of tea and let's get started with some freezer prep.
Okay, so today we are doing a big freezer prep because I recently did this before and it actually saved me so much time. I loved it. It brought structure to the week. I got more time to play with my kids and spend with my husband instead of being in the kitchen every single night making dinner. So for me to make from scratch or homemade meals, it does take time, and some nights we just simply don't have that time. So instead of ordering in, I like to just grab something straight from the freezer, throw it in the oven, throw it on top of the stove, and then it's done within 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how long we need to heat it up for. So today we are going to do, I think, hamburger helper, chickpea, crock pot curry, turkey meatballs, shepherd pie, chicken curry, and I'm thinking possibly a vegetarian lasagna depending on how much time I have. And that way it's just super quick to grab from the freezer. But I will have all the recipes linked down below, and I think we're going to start with the hamburger helper.
Honestly, as I navigate getting back to the roots of cooking, freezer prep has saved me a ton of time during the week because I can simply just grab a meal from the freezer that's already prepped and ready to just heat up in the oven and serve. So I've started making easy homemade freezer meals just using simple ingredients we usually already have on hand. It's a practical way to keep from scratch cooking doable and make weeknight dinners feel a lot less stressful. And that means I have more time to play with my kids, more time to spend with my family, and not just feel like a stressed out mess, because these meals are nothing fancy. They're just simple, comforting dinners made from scratch that you can easily reheat and actually fit into real life. So, if you've been wanting to make weeknight cooking feel more manageable without relying on takeout or processed foods, I hope this freezer prep gives you a little encouragement and a little bit of inspiration.
Okay, so the recipe calls for wine, but I don't have any wine, so all I'm doing is just putting 1/3 cup of water and mixing just 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. Mix it together, and then I'm just going to add this into the cooked beef and onions and garlic.
I've come to the end of myself. My hands in the air, Jesus, I've got nothing left. And I wanna keep saying.
So I'm just waiting for the hamburger helper, like the broth, to simmer on the stove. So in the meantime, I'm just going to rinse up these chickpeas for the chickpea curry. And then as the hamburger helper is cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to start on the curry.
We cry, justice, freedom come, open up those heavenly gates.
So I'm just using macaroni pasta, but you can just use any type of pasta you want. But I find the macaroni just gives that little feel of like a true hamburger helper. So I'm just gonna pour this in, let it simmer on low for about 10 to 15 minutes.
For me, cooking this way is also about nourishment, making sure our meals have a good balance of protein, healthy fats, and simple whole ingredients that keep us feeling satiated. Because, especially as moms, we tend to put ourselves last. And although I'm a nutritionist specializing in women's health, I too need this reminder usually around lunch hour when I'm pacing the kitchen for something to eat. And that's when freezer meals come in handy for work lunches too. Because it's not about being overcomplicating, but just thoughtful choices that support energy and overall well being. And I absolutely love knowing that when I pull one of these meals from the freezer, like a lentil soup, which I'll link in the notes below from a previous freezer prep video, it's a gentle reminder that feeding my family well doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach. A little planning and even involving your kids in the kitchen can turn into cozy, nourishing dinners all week long. And healthy dinners don't have to be boring. This hamburger helper is a family favorite, but it's also supportive of the menstrual cycle. And as a practitioner specializing in women's health, I know how important it is that moms are fueled too, just as well as the families we care for. Because meals like this let us enjoy comfort food that's both nourishing and practical. And I have an entire cycle syncing guidebook that covers everything from what to eat, how to care for your body through each stage of your menstrual cycle. And if you are looking for greater support, I'd absolutely love to connect, and I'll have all of the information in the show notes below.
You can't turn the tide, let the water go where it wants to go. You can run and hide, you can bury yourself beneath the stones. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice.
So I am moving on to the next recipe, which I need this pot because I only have one pot for the induction stove because we just recently got this. So I need to get some more induction pots, but in the meantime, we're going to let this cool down in this bowl so we can use this pot to start cooking the potatoes for the shepherd's pie.
That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across the fields. Let me take a breath. Let me be a part of something real. Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend.
We did it. That was probably painful.
I also want to mention that this isn't something I've been doing forever. I really only started intentionally prepping meals for the freezer a few months ago. And if you have any meal ideas that store well, I'd love to know in the comments below because I'm always trying out new meals and attempting to create my own. And it also involves many late Pinterest nights. So I would love to know in the comments below if you do have any go-to freezer friendly meals because I usually try to add a few freezer meals each month whenever I have a little extra time in the kitchen. And sometimes it means just making extras, while others it's an hour or two spent throughout the day while having my kids involved. But one of the best purchases we've honestly ever bought was those stand-up kid towers where they can come to the counter and help cook. I started doing this with our firstborn when he was probably around 18 months, maybe even sooner than that, and now with our second, and it's such a fun experience for both them and I. The other day, my son had an ice cream scooper with a pull attachment, and when he pulled it, the flour made a huge cloud, and we all started laughing. So, not only does a good freezer prep take pressure off, it really is such a gift when you can include your kids in the process. And not to mention the pressure it takes off, knowing that dinner doesn't always have to be figured out in the moment. And in the end, it really does save so much time because some months the meals last us a while, and other months, especially when life feels a little bit more chaotic, or if my family absolutely loves what I've cooked, they're gone within a week or two. But either way, having them there is really such a gift.
In the dark, on a road with all familiar feelings, I know I hear a song, but it ain't so clear. No. And when it rains, it falls hard, and there's a weight I've carried so far. But will we fly or will I fall here? You are the answer, you are that real love. I throw my hands up, I throw my hands up. I give it all to you, I give it all to you, God. I give it all to you, 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 God. I give it all to you, I give it all to you.
Okay, so I have these two containers for the shepherd's pie, but I think what I'm going to do is use the smaller ones and separate it into probably two of them. I think that will be enough ingredients for the two. And then I'll just freeze these once it's cooled down. But first I need to put it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 425. This size will be perfect because then I can just take out one for one dinner and then take out another for a different dinner. That way we won't have any wasted food.
Every dream that I've ever had, every prize and treasure I found, yeah. Every light, every smile, every tear of joy that I've cried, without you it means nothing at all.
If you haven't noticed, I did switch paths a little with the plan today. I had intended to make lasagna, but it just wasn't in the cards and we pivoted. Something I really want to stress because as I find my way back to the roots of cooking, I'm learning to give myself a lot of grace. And some plans will come together and some just simply won't. And there will be days when things flow easily and others when they feel messy or unfinished and everything unchecked in my planner. And that is okay because as I continue moving towards more from scratch meals, I know there will be times where I miss the mark and other times when it all feels surprisingly smooth. And if you're in the same season trying to bring a little more nourishment into your home, I want you to know it doesn't have to look perfect to be meaningful. And most times it won't be perfect to be meaningful, but trust me, it is always meaningful and your family will always, always appreciate all of the work that you put into the simple home cooked meals. And one small thing that's been really helpful for me on cooking days is bringing a bit of mindfulness into the process because it is so easy for these days to feel task focused and rushed. But even something as simple as box breathing can help shift that. So I'll imagine a box and I'll inhale along one side, I'll pause at the top, and then I'll exhale down at the other side and pausing again at the bottom. And that small little pause can gently bring your nervous system into a more restful state. And when we are feeling more restful and we enter what's called our parasympathetic nervous system state, it can really help you feel more present. It can support digestion. It can even be beneficial for your hormones and the menstrual cycle. So, the best part though is that you can do it all while stirring a pot. Prepping 5 different meals at once. So, anything that is realistic and doable and can easily bring it into your day seamlessly are the actions that I love encouraging clients to do in their practice because cooking doesn't have to feel hurried or stressful to be productive. Sometimes slowing down just a little is what makes it sustainable and it makes it even that much more meaningful.
stretching out on my path, and moments are quicker than last. Time goes, I'm tired, and finding it harder to see the kindness you told us to be. I'm trying to hold, but I trust and know you'll make a way. You'll make a way. You'll make a way.
As we start to wrap up today in the kitchen, I hope this video felt like a reminder that cooking from scratch doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Whether you prep a full freezer worth of meals or just one dish to tuck away for a busy night, it honestly all counts. And this season of returning to simple, nourishing food has been about progress over perfection because learning what works and adjusting when it doesn't and giving myself permission to take it one meal at a time has truly changed my entire outlook when it comes to cooking in the kitchen. And truly, even the smallest bit of planning can create so much ease later on, whether it is just planning out your dinners for the week ahead, or doing a little bit of freezer prep, or just simply making a few snacks to ease into the week. But if you're in a similar place of trying to make weeknights feel a little calmer or meals feel a little bit more intentional, I hope you leave feeling encouraged and let this be a permission to start small and pivot whenever needed, just like these muffins have turned into what would have been the lasagna, and trust that the effort you're putting in now will support you and your family in the days ahead. And remember, this doesn't have to look the same for everyone. Your version of nourishing meals might change from week to week or season to season, and that is perfectly okay because what matters most is creating rhythms in the kitchen that feel supportive rather than overwhelming. And instead of just leading on motivation, it's truly establishing habits and rhythms that just work seamlessly into your day to day schedule and choosing what works for your life right now. So, if creating the snacks is what works best for you, or double batching some dinners and storing some away in the freezer, then that is all a win over here in my book. So, anything that you can do is a beautiful approach to cooking and loving your time in the kitchen. Thank you so much for spending this time with me in the kitchen today. And if you enjoyed this kind of slow, nourishing approach to cooking, I'd love for you to stick around. And until next time, take care and enjoy the cozy moments right where you are.